Have you ever noticed how when someone genuinely believes in you that you start showing up as the best version of yourself? Maybe you try a little bit harder or you take more risks, but it really does seem like things start to naturally click and you start believing in yourself a lot more. But when someone doubts us or seems to question our abilities, we can really experience the opposite effect. We start second-guessing ourselves or holding back, and sometimes we even shrink ourselves down in a way that actually matches their lack of belief in us. And this is exactly why having an understanding of how expectations shape behavior is so critical, because what we believe about others and, of course, what we believe about ourselves can dramatically influence our performance, confidence, and even the choices we make, usually without us even realizing it. So today we're going to get to the bottom of this so we can not only recognize when it's happening, but also so we can stop letting other people's opinions determine whether or not we're going to live up to our full potential. Now, to start, psychologists actually have a name for this phenomenon. It's called the Pygmalion Effect. The term comes from the Greek myth of Pygmalion, who was a sculptor who fell in love with a statue he created, and according to the myth, his belief and attention actually brought it to life. So in a nutshell, the story describes how our expectations, positive or negative, can steer our behavior and influence how well we perform and the things that we choose to do. This is mainly because when someone expects us to succeed, they usually unconsciously treat us in a way that actually encourages that success, and vice versa. And even though we may not directly pick up on what's really happening, it can significantly change our behavior and our belief in ourselves. And eventually, it can really start to affect our lives for good or bad. And there is extensive research to back this. One of the most famous demonstrations of this effect was done in a classroom setting in the 1960s. In the study, teachers were told that certain students were intellectual bloomers who were expected to make rapid academic gains during the year. But in reality, the students were just completely chosen at random. By the end of the year, those students showed profoundly higher improvements compared to their peers, even though they had no true intellectual advantage. The teachers' beliefs about the students' potential had simply shaped how they interacted with them. Without realizing it, they offered them more attention, more encouragement, and more patience. And the students, either consciously or unconsciously, picked up on these cues and began to excel. This is a perfect example of how deeply our expectations really can influence our reality, and more recent studies do nothing but confirm these findings. Studies done in workplaces, sports teams, and therapeutic settings clearly show that when leaders or coaches genuinely expect their team members to perform well, their support and encouragement strongly boost confidence, persistence, and achievement, and that low expectations can create chronic stress, hesitation, and self-doubt that keep us from ever reaching our full potential. And truthfully, in our daily lives, the Pygmalion effect is constantly at play. Once we become aware of this, it's so easy to look back and think of dozens of examples of when someone's negative opinion of us caused us to hold back or to second guess ourselves, even when we didn't realize in the moment that that was the reason why. But it also works with our own self-expectations. When we genuinely believe that we can accomplish something, we are much more likely to take steps that actually lead to success. But when we are filled with self-doubt, we can unconsciously sabotage ourselves. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. In neuroscience, this connects to something called predictive processing, the way our brain constantly tries to anticipate outcomes based on past experiences. In other words, when we believe something's going to go well or horribly wrong, our brain literally starts to prepare to perceive and respond in ways that match that story, which is precisely why we need to start becoming more aware of these silent expectations. And if we can start to learn to hold high, supportive, compassionate expectations for ourselves and the people around us, we are going to start to influence things in a very positive way and potentially even completely change our life. Because the truth is, we are usually a lot more capable than we give ourselves credit for. But that is the Pygmalion Effect in a nutshell, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this, especially if it's something that you think has affected you personally, so please leave them down below. As always, I truly hope that you found this video helpful. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not done so already, and I will see you in the next video.